Two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
Was poppin'. Welcome to Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to the live show. I realize I have to make that different because some people on the replay is going to be like, is this the podcast too? No. This is the live show. Hey, shout out to everybody who's already on. We see you, Rose Gold, Overland, Jose, Michael. We see y'all. Everybody who's jumping in. First and foremost, episode 34 is out. Okay. All right. Another air horn for that. We talked about what did we talk about? Nicki Minaj. We talked about Soulja Boy. Mm-hmm. We talked about Chrissy Teigen. And we did a nice little bar at the end that y'all got to check out. It was a whole lesson, a whole lesson. So, Moose, how we feeling?
Pretty good. A lot better than Friday. I don't know, for those who've listened, man, you saw I was a little beat up on Friday. Well, not Friday. We recorded when? Saturday. Recorded Saturday. Yeah, I was a little under the weather Saturday. I'm much better today. Much better today. So yeah, I'm feeling good. What's up with you though? How you looking? See you with the Ecamm?
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Ecamm family. Shout out to them with this distressed little dad hat, which I normally don't do. Right? I normally don't do
nice.
this.
I like that.
Right. But it makes me feel.
The other one you had the open net, right? The open net.
Yes, and I actually like the little trucker vibes more than the I put this through hell and now I'm gonna wear it kind of thing. But I'm trying something new. I'm trying to see how it feels and all that great stuff. So it is what it is. But what we talking about today, Moose? What we doing?
Yeah, man. So I've been really paying attention to the calendar a little bit more as of late, and I'm looking today and I'm like, all right, May 25th. We're literally 6 days away from the start of the second half of the year.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if people have been paying attention to that, but it's like, yo, we're already halfway through 2021. So I'm like, okay, let's not just slide right into the summer and kind of keep up with what we've been having going on without really making some adjustments or, just kind of like thinking about, okay, hold up, what's happened in my first half of the year? So one of the things that I immediately thought about was like, productivity. Things are about to change. For the most part, first half of 2021, things were still on the shutdown. Not much momentum or movement was happening. But more and more, people are really starting to come outside of this whole COVID situation. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's press the brakes a little bit. Let's start planning about, all right, how do I become more productive going into the second half of the year? So part of it is just taking an inventory. I'm like, let's just dialogue a little bit about first half of the year. How did it go? Wins, lessons. We do the whole thing with Extreme Execution, just kind of bringing it to the live show. And then let's talk through some strategies, a couple ways about how we can be more productive moving into the second half. I got some concepts where I'm talking about speed versus time. So we'll kind of discuss that a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of the general overview, man. So tap in, sit back, grab a pen and a notepad, something to drink, hand sanitizer, the whole nine. I got Nicky laughing early. That's a good sign. We just go roll with it. We gonna roll with it.
I never saw somebody feel so excited about productivity.
It's like productivity.
Oh my God. All right, real quick, let me set the stage. Shout out to Isaiah with the super chat. And I think King in the building. Shout out to King for the super chat. If at any moment we add any kind of value to your life or we already have, don't forget, be active in the live chat if you're watching this live, clearly. There on the bottom is just like this little $sign thing where you could buy stickers, send a tip, whatever you want to do. Hit that super chat. Support the live, support the brand. You know what I mean? But
We appreciate that.
Moose is singing. Is he low key Whitney Houston fan? Wait, what? Are you a Whitney Houston fan? Super side note.
I saw Aaron posted that earlier. I was like, wait, singing what? Where did that come from?
I don't know. I don't
catch on to
know.
that.
I think it was maybe the little. I don't know.
Oh, the little vibe, little cha-cha slide. You know what I'm saying? A little cha-cha slide on a Tuesday.
Hey, it's Tuesday. We're a little silly. It's a great week. It's an adventurous week. It's the whole vibe this week. I'm just saying. Yeah. Okay, so what inventory are we taking? What inventory?
Yeah, kick us off. Talk about, just reflect on the first half of the year. I know you're not somebody who's so much of a forward planner, but you're definitely good at looking back and learning, or extracting some of the things that you've learned from your first half of the year. So 6 months in, or a week short of officially 6 months in, just kind of think about the first 6 months. Let's talk about some wins and lessons, and then we'll talk adjustments for productivity moving forward.
So I'm with that. Another one. Hold on. Shout out to Julie. So so this first half of the year has been really observing for me. Like, I really kind of, and which is not really normal for me, but I've been like sitting back and seeing what the culture's been doing. Not sitting back and not doing anything, but really just like, okay, we have been in quarantine for a whole bit. Now people are starting to go back outside. What does this mean for online? What does this mean for in person? What does this mean for products and services and how we market things? And so I've been really kind of seeing what is happening as far as people's online presence, even with ours. Like, what is this? What is the messages they truly need from us? What is some of the breakdowns we really need to do? So for me, I would really have to say this first half has really been just, okay, I see where we are now. I see people are outside. Like, I see we just don't care about COVID. We feel that if we have a card in our hand, we are out here. I know I am. I am out here. I'm going outside, people. But people are, I mean, what was it? Did I show you? I don't know if I showed you. They're like, once I saw Lil Baby do a whole concert in Orlando, I believe it was, that looked like a whole huge Coachella, I was done. I was like, oh, we're back. My man doing mosh pits, all that great stuff. I was like, oh, we're back, right? Shout out to Travis Scott. He's doing his Astroland, and anybody who's seen any kind of footage of Astroland, that is a walking mosh pit. You will have bruises just looking at it from a streaming standpoint. So I feel like concerts are back on. I feel like people are doing way more live events. I don't see people slowing up on their online presence just yet, though. That's what I was kind of really waiting on. Like, okay, people are outside. What does this mean? Now, the one thing I have seen is Clubhouse going down.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I've noticed that as people are going outside, we may not be necessarily wanting to spend all day on Clubhouse talking and adding value in that kind of way anymore. Now, there are people who are super active, and I know Android was finally allowed to finally jump into the invite-only situation, which is funny because I was like, okay, Android's there. They're like, yo, I still need an invite. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. I don't know why they keep doing that. But that went down. So audio, speaking, not necessarily listening, audio went down. So I've been real big on just, let me see what the culture's doing. Let me see how we have to maneuver. Because me and you've had this conversation. I'm like, yo, I think it's time that we do things outside again. I think we are not necessarily exhausted of virtual learning, right? But it would be a nice scenery change to have the opportunity to possibly just do both. You know, like some people are still like on the fence, but now brands should start thinking, how do we do kind of a hybrid situation? How do we do kind of a, you know, maybe I'll give you the option once a quarter to come back. You know, E's going to do one live event. Shout out to E, right? Sometime in the end of the year. I don't know if I could say yet when, but sometime, right? And that's a whole vibe. So that means if he's going out, it's about to get active. Hold on. Oh, okay. Trucking from scratch. Shout out to David for the super chat. Hello.
Yeah,
I recently found the channel and love the content. Finally caught a live, proud and support dope create.
Respect.
He said he found the channel. That's a good vibe. That's a good. We doing something right. We doing something right.
You.
All right, my bad. Go ahead. I got excited.
No, I before you go to the to the hybrid situation, I kind of want to talk real quick, just briefly about Twitter jumping on the kind of the audio space, and then kind of like this whole thing pretty much dying out. Do you think that's a waste of energy? Like, did they just kind of miss the boat with that? Was that a bandwagon move that didn't hit?
Nah. So, of course, when somebody does it first, there's going to be a whole bunch of copycats, right? So Twitter got into space. Facebook's about to get into the space. I know Discord has gotten into the space. Reddit has gotten into so. The major players have now added audio into it, right? So whereas Clubhouse is only audio, now the major players are making it as a feature. My whole thing, and I believe I've stated this before, audio is a feature. So to just make it a app on its own, I think somebody was going to buy that out, or somebody was going to copy it to the fullest, that they're going to have some major players to back them for them to really do some damage in the social media streets, because they're considered its own social media, which they are. But if they don't make really quick moves, it's looking a little light for them as we go back outside.
Quick lesson in that. I know it's not necessarily tied to our team, but a quick lesson in that for those who, often see people doing things and like, oh, that's hot. Let me jump on and do the same exact thing. It's like sometimes that is not for you. All right, not your boat, not your fight. Because clearly, I looked at Twitter and all these guys. I'm like, y'all came on super late. Yeah, clearly it was a let's do it because they did it kind of move, and it didn't necessarily stick at all.
Well, I mean, I think Twitter has been needing to do something new, but what they do well, which is just pure conversation, right? Just random thoughts, conversation, Twitter chats. It's been going on for so long, and people are a little bit more active, I think. Maybe because of the pandemic, Twitter got real live lately, right? Way more than before. Now, I am looking forward to what Facebook is going to do with audio, because they said there's going to be like live audio rooms, and you're going to be able to repurpose that for content and create sound bites. And so I believe that is going to be something to look at. I don't know if it's going to beat it, but it is something to look at, as far as I don't necessarily want to create content over here and over there and over here and over there. I want to repurpose it as much as I can. And if Facebook allows that, I think that's going to be a whole vibe. But that's just
nice.
That's just me.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Nice. That was your quick I don't know, let's just call it year in review of social media real quick, brought to you by Nikki Sanders. Here we go.
Wait, but it's
No,
not even the
I
end. It's not even the end review. Hold on. Wait,
I
we're
know.
in May.
Well, mid-year review. Let me say mid-year
Okay,
review. I
all
didn't mean
right.
to say a full-year review. My
All
bad.
right.
Mid-year review.
I was
Well,
like looking at it like, wait, it's not even my birthday. Hold on.
I know everyone is like, wait, why are you guys talking about the first 6 months? I saw Julie commented 5 months in. It's like, well, we're trying to be ahead of the curve. If you wait until June 1st to talk about the first 6 months, you're gonna be a little late planning for the second half. So we're doing you a favor and starting a week early. But I will say really quick for me, my first 6 months were super focused on personal life, simply because going into the end of last year, going into Q4, I just took inventory and I felt like my life was so one-sided. Everything I had to show for in my life was just strictly related to business. So I was like, okay, I'm not too happy about that. So
Okay.
I really focused on building like social circles, building community, making sure that I have a spiritual community that I belong to and I feel comfortable to, and I have a routine that I can, really follow on a consistent basis. So the month of Ramadan was great for that. There was a lot of things that just came about from those practices that were phenomenal. So the first half of the year for me, I think, was strictly tied to that. Looking into the second half of the year now, I'm saying to myself, all right, there's a lot of opportunity for me to level up and push the emblem on the business side. Now, granted, we're so fortunate that we're surrounded by individuals like yourself, a phenomenal team, and just people in our corner that are so good at what they do that when we bring our genius together for just a short period of time, we're able to make up or almost put up months of work at a time that you never fall behind from a business standpoint. But it's different than when you're crushing it every single day and really pushing the entire movement and what you're involved in to the next level. So the next 6 months, I think that's really what I'm going to be looking to do, and pushing everything that I'm involved in on a maximum level. Like, let's just see what we can do. So the reason for today's conversation around speed versus time, I like how you kind of posted it as well, or talked about it. It's like, are you someone who likes to take their time, or are you someone who likes to go fast? Right. And that's really the context of the conversation. But for us, I think around productivity, we got to start taking inventory around what works best for us. Right. So I think that at some point we're going to arrive at the point where we're talking about how can you do both? Because we've noticed through many of the things that we've talked about, whether related to the flight assessment, branding conversation, or content creation related conversations, or even business and team development conversations, we've always found that too much of anything is overkill, right? Or like what Nipsey says, too much of anything is a liability. So I think if you're just fast all the time, or you're on time all the time, you'll probably find yourself missing out on opportunities. But ultimately, it's about kind of finding balance and rhythm in the two. I want to kind of have the conversation now about that, right? Like, what has worked best for you traditionally, and then what do you feel you need to work on more moving forward? And for those who are listening and tuned in, kind of like join in on the conversation with us, whether you want to drop it in the comments, whether you're taking notes and you want to kind of reflect on it for yourself. But let's really kind of bring our geniuses together again. Think about it like you were going to sit down at the end of the year to do your vision board and some of your planning. Well, let's do that a little bit more regularly and do another mid-year one, which is what we're doing today, more so tied to productivity. So yeah, Nick, for you, speed or time, which is kind of more your flow, what has worked for you traditionally, and what would you do moving forward? Keep the same, change it up?
So I think I've changed it up. I think I've had a happy medium. I mean, you know how I am with my happy mediums, right? So I'm a big speed kills kind of vibe. And though that has worked and got me in certain positions that I'm in right now, it made me do a lot of rework. And so I had to find a happy medium to where, what is a little bit of the details so I can work on this kind of smart instead of like, boom, here it is. They're like, okay, cool, now add this. Okay, cool, now add that. Okay, cool. Like, hold on. No, I need majority of the information off top. right? If not, then I start getting a little antsy now. Clear as day. I proved that today. We're in a text group.
Saw that.
Right? And normally, if anybody has been in a working situation with me in Texas, it's really not Texas, but texting, right? It's normally like, got it, cool, I see you, like real quick, like I don't need too much. I wrote whole okay, so this is how are we distributing? This is what I received from it. What does this mean? How are we doing this? And I looked at that like, oh, this person's not gonna like me no more. Because they used to love that I was like, cool, got it, go, bye. Now it's like, yo, I'm nervous because it's next week and I don't have these details and it's gonna fall on me. And like, oh, well, no, I don't want you nervous. You tell me what you need. I don't know what is needed to tell you what I need. Wait. So for me, proper preparing, so a bit of time, but as well as not, being too slow to it. I realized that there's certain things that need speed, right? Certain information that needs to be put out that definitely needs that speed kind of vibe, right? That quickness. But some things need a bit of planning to maximize on how much we're going to make or how, what's the maximum results of what we're trying to do than necessarily going, all right, I'm first. So a prime example is the Clubhouse thing. Okay, I'm first. Hello, I'm here. Clubhouse, boom. Okay, but did you think long term to when the big players are going to come in? What's going to happen here? What is the quick adjustment that we're going to make? Who are we going to partner with? What if these people come to us and talk about, are we going to, like, I'm now more thinking of those particular things than necessarily, and I'm not going to say I'm a planner because that's not a planner, not. But I just appreciate detail a little bit more this year than maybe I would say 2 years ago because I am tired.
I respect that.
I'm tired.
I respect that.
Yeah, like I
respect that.
I can't move with and spend all day doing something over and over again. So I'll wait, see what it is, like lean back, observe, then go execute, and then no one's going to question what I do. I'm just saying. Tag, you're it.
Shout out to Rose Gold in the comments, though. I see what she wrote there. I really like that. She said, I've been a speed person for a while, mainly in my content creation.
That's a he. That's a he.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. That's terrible.
I'm sorry.
I gotta stop doing that. I'm so bad at that. It's just like I'm so used to like seeing people that I don't have to make that mistake, but that's terrible. I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's all good.
Rose
At least
Gold,
I believe it is. Hold on, we don't even know now. Now you're making me question.
Oh shoot.
See?
Oh shoot.
This individual who's always showing up every single day.
Labels. Yeah. I was gonna say maybe we just need to remove labels from the show. Just like for the sake of
Look, he's crying. Wait, hold on. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go.
Oh shoot. That's not, you know what? Man.
I got you. I got your back though. I got your back.
Great comment though. No, but I'm just talking about the comment. But thank you for correcting me. I've been a speed person for a while, mainly in my content creation. Now I'm focused on slower pace that allows me to fine tune my digital presence toward higher quality. I love that, right? The adjustment. My question to you, and I think you sped past this really quick. I just want to see if you have something specific for it, for those who are listening out there, where they can start listening or looking in their own personal lives. Was there something that you found? I always think that there's a principle that you tie to when it comes to figuring out what's the difference between when to go fast, when to go slow, or when to go fast, when to take your time and focus on something. Have you seen anything specifically for you where it's like, okay, I'm kind of seeing a pattern here that when I'm focused on this particular thing, I can be in my speed bag all day and it doesn't affect how I flow. But when it comes to these things, I typically need a little bit more time. So I'm wondering, have you seen any patterns whatsoever? Because I have one, but I'm curious to see what you got.
I think for me, it would have to be like, in my world, talking about trending topics has to be a speed thing for me. But creating certain programs, putting out certain series, certain services, events, that's now where before was go, 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 is now what's the long game? How much are we trying to make? What is the reach we're trying to do? And then how can we strategically do this to where we're not doing double work, where it's the adjustments that we need are in place based off these certain milestones, a certain number. Like I'm real big on that now, but understanding that, okay, I may have to dress this right now, so let me do this in its raw, organic way. But this one, I could possibly take my time with, but what is still the deadline to where we could put this out? That would be for me.
Yeah. The piece that I can tie to that is really understanding the time it takes to change something. All right. So, and I still go back to that time last year when we were working on one of the projects and we ended up pulling an all-nighter, doing a whole bunch of craziness and not ended up using it.
That was the turning point for me. I ain't gonna hold you. That was the turning point for me. That was like,
that makes sense.
Nope.
No,
can't do it. I can't do it. That wasn't a needed fast adjustment right then and there, especially when this is what I say. If there are more to come, there's no need to make that fast adjustment at that moment. So that I realized that there were more webinars later down the line, more of these particular events and things like that. Okay, we make our adjustments. But that was a learning experience, because if that didn't happen, possibly could have done it over and over again like that. So I don't.
I still feel terrible about that. I've learned the same lesson, but just in a completely different concept. Not so much around that per se, but just like, whenever you're on a team, you have to know what is the turnaround time of the people, or not the turnaround time, but what is their time on task equal to? Just because you've seen them do things very, very fast and they make it look easy, that doesn't mean it is. That's just a skill set that you're playing at, or like the level of talent that you're playing at. People have the ability to make everything look easy. It doesn't mean that it actually is. So you can't assume that just because you're willing to do something, or whether it be a sacrifice, whatever it is, that the other person on the team should do the same, at least without asking. So that was a big lesson for me too. But what's come about from that is recognizing the time it takes to make a change. All right. So when I activate speed versus time, for me, it's a lot about really considering how much time and resources do we have to put into adjusting, or whether it be fixing something, adjusting something, and really making it click to the level that I'd like to see it at. If the exchange is not worth the ROI, and I like that you said maximizing the return, because that's something we've been big on. But if the exchange is not worth the ROI that's coming back, then it's not such an emergency. That's when you can recognize that you as an individual, and I'll speak as a reminder for myself first, and then secondary to those who are listening, that's when you know that your desire for perfection is really out of order. Like you're so tied to perfection that you just want to fix for the sake of fixing something, not really taking into consideration, is this something that's going to bring me a great ROI toward what I'm working on or building? So that's one of those criterias for when you talk about productivity. That's one of those elements that you got to start focusing to. You can't just jump from one thing to the other without considering both the time it takes to make an adjustment and a change, as well as the ROI that you can get from that thing. Because it's just like a car, right? Like you turn off a car, you got to turn it back on. You got to take into account the gas that you're wasting, the idle time, the warm up, all this stuff. So it's the same thing with us. And if you can tap into some of those areas for you right off the bat, you'll just, if you don't progress at the bare minimum, similar to what you said, Nikki, you'll save energy. Because I feel like, you may have not necessarily done a whole lot more, but you at least conserve your energy to better see, oh, this is a good opportunity. Oh, yeah, no, that's not worth it. And it's like you get to a level of maturity with your craft and the work that you're doing, that you're not just bouncing on things for the sake of being active, but you're doing it in a more strategic way.
Yeah. And another thing I realize is like, especially if you work with a team, like my emergency is not necessarily their emergency.
Yep.
And I think that's just in general, but my emergency is not necessarily their emergency. So I have to really kind of place it to a point where they understand it's important and it's needed in a quicker time, but understanding their process of like, yo, what do you feel like can this happen? Like, what do you think is the turnaround rate? And giving them that say, they normally try to beat that time. Now, there's some who say a time and I'm still waiting for the time, and I'm still waiting. Okay, it's great. But there's others that are just like, all right, this is what you need. Cool. I could probably do this by Friday, and then I get it Thursday. I'm Gucci. Shout out to Isaiah. Shout out to Isaiah. That's my guy.
Hey.
But here's
like
my question.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you say for those people? Because I know I can speak on the speed time, but what do you say to those people who value the time part, right? When you were talking about time versus speed, value the time part and can't have that balance, or, don't see in any point where speed is needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I will say that for those people who really can be honest with themselves, when you think about why you love time so much, meaning taking your time to do something, or really feeling like you have just exhausted all the options and possibilities that you had to make something the best that it could be, a big part of it is you develop the tendency to really romanticize the process. Like you're so big about a particular process, you trust in it so much, which is great, right? I think it's a phenomenal thing to trust in your process. But when you do it to the point that you're romanticizing it, you actually start to love the process more than the goal that you're pursuing. And while we are big on saying you got to trust the process, don't worry about the goal or don't worry about the outcome, there's still a reason why we set goals to begin with, right? So you can't not just forget about it, or at least at some part of your journey or your career or your business or what you're working toward, the process is important. But at some point, you notice that the next level, they don't care about your effort. They actually only care about the outcome or the result that you produce. So it's not efficient enough, or like in one level, it was okay to say, man, well, I didn't execute, but I gave it my all. And it was like, don't worry about it. Good job. Like, I appreciate the effort. That's enough. I'll pick it up from here. I'll take it to the finish line. At some point, that's no longer going to be an efficient thing. Like, it's like, yo, effort is not enough.
Right.
You actually have to carry whatever you said you were responsible for. You got to carry it all the way around and across the finish line. So when you get to that level, you start recognizing that you can't just always romanticize the process and take away from the outcome or the goal that you agreed to or said that you'll be able to produce. So that's how I started to establish my balance, Nikki. I started to realize that I was leaving people depending on this particular part of the equation, that it's going to be on me to get done. And me coming back and handing them a great report that just has effort all over it without the actual result, it doesn't cut it anymore. So you have to choose. Do I want to just play at the level with everyone talking about handing in their effort receipts? Or do I want to upgrade my game and play with the big dogs and really come with it? Because there's a lot of advantages that come with playing on a big stage or playing with a really great team, right? Like you don't get to play with a Nicky, with an E, with a CJ, with a Maul, with a Carl, with all these phenomenal people if you can't hold your end of the bargain. There's a lot of perks that come to it, but you have to start letting go of effort and start focusing on that production piece. So that was the adjustment that I made, and it helped me find balance. Now I can tap into my time and say, okay, I know I can really give this the time that it needs, or I really enjoy the process, so I'm going to stick with it. But when you're looking at time dwindle and you're not making up the ground that you need to make, or you're not producing and progressing at the rate that you'd like to, you got to start kicking it into speed and overdrive mode to make up for some of the stuff that needs to get done to get you to the finish line. And it takes practice, but that's why I feel like a lot of the principles and strategies that we've tied around that, like when you hear someone like E say, done is better than perfect when perfect isn't done. You could be like, oh, but that's so cliche. Like, come on, I'm tired of hearing that. But again, as I've said before, some cliches you can take to the bank, and that's one of them. So that's kind of the balancing act, Nix, where it's like, at some point, you're going to have to sacrifice to jump up, or you're going to stay at the same level that you're at, continuing to wonder like, man, why am I stuck here? Like, why can't I push it over? All right. So that was definitely one of those things for me.
People loving what you said. Hey.
Appreciate y'all, man. Yeah, for sure. I want to ask you this question though, because I know, like you said, what happens if you struggle making in the adjustment? Mm-hmm. Let's kind of flip it on its head. What happens if you struggle, if you make the adjustment, but you don't get the ROI? Right. So like, does that mean, so for example, you said that you recently made the adjustment to go from speed to time because you recognize the detail and the planning will help you to work smarter, not harder.
I did.
And not kind of let go.
Don't say, I didn't go all the way into time. I happy medium.
No, I'm never saying that. No. I'm not saying you are automatically a time person now. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like you value the time piece of things now that you're able to make the adjustment.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is for people who have made the adjustment or are trying to play between both, because ultimately what we're saying here, and we're giving you the point early, we're not going to kind of hang on till 8:59 and be like, oh, by the way, you should do both. I think like we're making that pretty clear. It's definitely something that you need to play on both sides of, but you just got to establish for you what are kind of the rules that you'd have to follow to know when to play on what side of the ball. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, what are some things that you can give to somebody, just whether from personal experience or as you think about out loud, if someone made the adjustment, but they're still not getting the results that they want, meaning that their preference is time, and they're listening to this or they're kind of doing it on their own. They're like, you know what? I actually got to stop taking my time with everything, and I got to start picking up my speed on certain tasks or just certain things that I'm doing because I want better results or better outcomes. But if that's what we're promising or that's what we're saying should happen, and someone makes that adjustment and doesn't get those outcomes, what would you say to them? Did they do something wrong? Or
I would go simple as adjust back. I mean, trial and error is the biggest thing for me. So I don't make an adjustment just cause. Like I make an adjustment because there is not necessarily the return in investment in that particular project, but more for me. So if I value more of time in a project, right? Like, so I'm asking a little bit more details. There's really a deeper meaning I want time for myself, right? I want the details so things could play out right and we still execute, but at the end of the day, I'm making the adjustment for the time situation because I want more time for myself and to be able to do other projects instead of working 24/7 fixing all the problems, because I'm a problem solver. So instead of getting the thrill of always problem solving 24/7, I'd rather get the thrill of solving the problem once or twice and then going on to the next project and solving that problem once or twice. And so it just allows me to have more time to do other things. So if you're making the adjustment just for that particular project, sometimes you're almost setting yourself up for failure at that point. There always has to be a deeper meaning for when you make adjustments like that. So it's not necessarily a loss at any point. It's just, okay, that didn't necessarily work like that in here, but in this particular situation it did. So maybe I just got to look at this situation differently. That's what I would say, because I don't put that much power to a project.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because we've also talked about before that there's nothing wrong with a testing period before you completely jump ship and go on to something that isn't typically your swag. We do like to help or recommend that people find balance across everything all, but not to the point that you completely abandon what has traditionally worked for you and go on to something full force without really testing, like the temperature of the water. Is it okay? Like, how deep should I go? How much can I handle? What's the best method for me? So I do agree with that for sure.
So flip that.
Which way?
In your way. What would you do? What do you mean?
What would I do?
What?
I'm like, wait, which way are we flipping?
He has a long week ahead of him.
So make the adjustment, don't get the result. I'd have to believe. So like I'm so big on certain equations, and that's why you hear me always going back to like principles and strategies, because I'm like, nothing becomes a principle or strategy unless it has produced consistent fruit. So when you personalize your strategy, or step one is finding just general principles and strategies. Step two is then finding your own personal ones. It's like you have really gotten to a level that you realize that what has been passed down to you isn't necessarily working, but with one or two minor adjustments, this is how you've personalized it to make it your own, and it's taking you to the next level. Great. Now, for something to become a principle or strategy, like I said, it produces consistent fruit. So when you make an adjustment and the promised outcome doesn't happen for you, then I have to believe somewhere across the line or somewhere across that, there's like lack of awareness happening, meaning that you're not successfully following the instructions or successfully making the adjustment. That's where it helps to have someone kind of like follow your path or follow your track and be like, okay, I know that this is what you're trying to do, but this is what you're actually doing. So you might think that you've made the adjustment from speed to time or from time to speed, however which way you need to, but are you really? Are you really doing that? And that's the one thing that you never really know, and you can't only use the outcome as the only measuring stick. So for me, I wouldn't just say go back. For me, I would say think about what you've done, and it's like, did I really do it? Can I have something to compare it to, like a measurement to compare to of, did I do it correctly before I completely switch back? So I would say that's the balancing act of it all. It's like, don't just jump ship, but actually think about, did you do it correctly before you make the adjustment back to your old way?
I like that.
Yeah.
I just want to appreciate time once in a while. That's it. I just want to appreciate time. It got me.
Beautiful.
Speed has gotten me into too much. Okay.
Talk about it. Real life scenario. I want to hear it.
No. It's hard to make that adjustment when you roll with speed people. You don't realize the errors you're making because the other people who are rocking with you are speed people. So we're all doing this over and over and over, or fixing it as we go, and it's getting exhausting. It's getting very exhausting. I'm realizing the fix it as you go thing sounds amazing. Promise you, sounds great, right? And I think that applies to certain things. Like like if you're in the beginning phases, I think that works, right? I think, and I know I say this when it comes to creating content for just people who need that momentum and get started. Yes, work with what you have and then upgrade and fix as you go, right? But once you get started, you're going to realize real quick, hold up, wait. That looks crazy. And after a while, right? Unless your expectations are beyond off the roof and you feel like every single time you do something, you're doing it wrong, right? But at a certain point, you're going to figure out a system. At a certain point, you're going to figure out what's working, what's not, right? I feel as if when you're in a group of people that are speed, you're creating something new all the time. And so there's no real true foundation with anything because you're always fixing it as you go. And then when you go, then there's something else to go to as well. And then there's something else. And it's just like, let's go. Let's be the first to do this. But are we the ones to be known for this? We could be the first, but when they say this particular thing, are they going to say our name? Or are they going to say the person who honestly took that and really focused on it? Because I can be the first to do a lot of things. That's great. But if I don't necessarily put my focus on it and create that foundation and then build on top of that and then move on once the whole building is created, you're not talking about just the first floor. You're not talking about maybe even the elevator part to get to the 5th floor, but there's a 12 floors to the building. Like what are we doing? No, we're on to the next building.
That's a bar.
I don't want to build 19 bodegas. Why do we have a chain of bodegas? Why don't we have a supermarket already? Why don't we have a chain of supermarkets? I don't know how I got into this whole analogy. Don't mind me.
That's a bar, though. That's a bar. That's a question everybody needs to ask yourself. Do you want to be first? Or do you want to be remembered as the best who did?
Oh, I thought you were about to say, do you want to have bodegas or do you want to have a supermarket?
That too. You know what I'm saying? That too. Exclusive to the people on the line. Do you want a bodega or a supermarket? What's up?
You want a
Where you at? Oh man, no, that's a bar. That's serious. That's serious.
Do you want a bodega or do you want a trade fair?
Supermarket. Hey, shout out to trade fair. You know, I used to have one right down my block.
Trade fair. For those who know what trade fair is, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Wow.
Isaiah, what do you know about chopped cheese? What are you talking about, Isaiah? You don't know nothing about a chopped cheese. Sir, they don't sell that in Arizona. They don't do that.
They don't sell that in Arizona.
Yeah, they don't sell that in Arizona. Anyways, whatever. What else
that's a bar though, for real. Do you want to be first, or do you want to be remembered as the best who's done it? That's a good word. You know what's come to mind when you say that is, teams or individuals who play on a double standard. That is one of my pet peeves, by the way. Just putting it out there. I cannot stand a double standard where someone says this is the way of things must be done or the way things should be done at all times, and holds everyone to that standard, but they break that standard themselves. So it's like, you gotta go 1, 2, 3, but they're going 1, 7, 10. It's like, what? But you just said 1, 2, 3 is the standard. So a double standard can mess you up, especially if that person holds they're in a position of influence in your life. I think that can be tricky because you end up really taking everything that they do or say and you hold it to the absolute highest standard. And you're willing to let go of your personal beliefs if you feel that at any moment they fall short of what is being projected.
Facts.
But you talk about changing back and forth every second or every couple little whatevers, that's probably going to be one of the more frustrating things. And at that point, man, yeah.
Need a favor. Yeah. You got your mug?
Okay. I can grab it. It's right there.
Okay, grab it real quick. So I need to make a public announcement. All right, I need to make a public announcement. So, if you listen to the podcast already, episode 34, and tomorrow the video will be coming out. We got mugs. Mine's is actually in the dishwasher, so that's why I need Moose to get his, right? So I was wrong, and I said Grind Gear got our mugs, and Jean actually, who I have up on the screen, and I really want to talk about what she just said, right? Actually got our mugs. Hold on, let me bring this over here and bring her name back up. So truly appreciate you. I apologize for saying that Grind Gear got the mug. That was all you. Shout out to you.
And that's what I said too. You were like, CP got that.
That was me. It was my fault. However, I do want to get to the point where she said, y'all talking about Soulja Boy first in everything. So can I talk about that real quick? So if you heard the episode, we were talking about Soulja Boy, and I put up this really funny video on my Instagram. If y'all check me out on Instagram, this is Nicky's, NICKY with an S, you know what I mean? But and he normally says that he's the first for everything, right? I'm the first on YouTube. I'm the first that found this person. I'm the first that did this. I'm the first that did that. And maybe he was. He actually backed up one of the facts of that he was the first rapper on YouTube. He actually backed it up, right? Showed stats. The problem is, and exactly what I said, you may be the first, but are you known for it? Right? Like, Soulja Boy isn't necessarily known for the things that he said he's first at, right? He didn't necessarily dominate that situation that he was first on. So we tend to forget. And then when we think about it, we're like, oh man, you right. You were the first to do this. You were the first to do that. You were and he's probably right about a lot of things. And like I said, and my mom just text me, I want the mug. I think mine just got robbed. I think mine just got robbed.
Gotcha.
Right. I think mine just got robbed. For those, Gene, if you can you make one that says "Mom" and I will pay you, because my mom will.
That's cool. She said she made them from home too. That's awesome.
Yeah. She's super dope. She texted me like, "Yo, I got I can make more." Right. I was like, oh, we may have to have conversations. But what I was saying is, like, we really have to look at what Soulja Boy did and understand what he has dominated and what he hasn't. And we won't necessarily give him society and culture won't necessarily give him all his flowers, because there's other people who did it better, right? Even the song with Kiss Me Through the Phone and how Drake kind of took the flow. Drake did it better. Sorry. Wish I could say different, but when you do it better, sometimes and you dominate. You do it better and you dominate doing it better. Because I don't want to necessarily just say you do it better and that's good enough, right? Mm-hmm. because sometimes first does beat quality, right? Sometimes, but you have to, it's so important, because even when we're talking about building our brands and building our businesses, right? We always say we want to stand out. So there's something that we have to do that we wouldn't necessarily be first in to create that leadership, but we have to stay on top. We can't just claim that leadership role and then that's it. Like, all right, I got it, I'm done. You have to continue to be, how do I say this? If you are dope at making shirts and you were the first ones to, I don't know, have a memory card like put into the shirt and then it projects a whole movie. I don't know, random techie vibes for me, don't mind me, right? Then you have to continuously reinvent yourself in that particular category over and over again to stay a leader, and not necessarily do the same thing over and over again and not go with the times. But that's a whole nother topic. It's a whole nother topic. Sorry.
That's a bar, though. That's a bar. That's got to get you thinking about what you doing, right? It's like, yo, I like that. You gonna
Ronald
be first?
said, how do I get products to you both? Moose is the hardest one to get products to. I'm just gonna be honest. But I be trying to hook him up. I'm like, hello, text this man back. Shout out to Jordan, by the way. Text this man back. 14 months later.
Oh man, she said 14 months later.
Thanks. I got him slippers,
man.
people. I got him slippers.
I did it, y'all. I did it the other day. On the way.
Hold on, Ronald. Hold on. I'm going to tell you to text me for 718-400-7061. Bang, that's right there. Text me to my text community and I'll take care of you. And shout out to Donovan with the super chat. Anyways, Moose, I went on a whole rant. Go say something.
No, that I think that's a nice bar. That's a really solid bar. Do you want to be first, or do you want to be remembered as the one who did it best? Solid bar. But just to recap, again, for those who tuned in or watching this on play, first and foremost, thank you, man. I feel like Nicky's the one who's always shutting the thank yous and showing all the love. But that doesn't mean I'm not grateful. I am just equally as grateful. Thank you so much for everyone who supports us, who tunes in and listens to us for an entire hour. That's kind of crazy. You're dedicating an hour to hanging out with us, and that truly means a lot. We absolutely appreciate every single one of you who do that, especially those who show up consistently. So over Ash, brother Isaiah, a lot of people who show up regularly too, that doesn't ever go unnoticed. But just a quick recap, I will say a week away from being 6 months into the year, take time to take inventory of how your first half went and then some adjustments you want to make going into the second half. The reason why I think this is a big deal from a productivity standpoint and just everything as a whole, the summer is coming up, y'all. You already know the weather is getting warm right now. So if you don't make any adjustments and take time to kind of catch yourself before you start slipping into the summer months, next thing you're going to know, it's going to be August and you're going to be like, oh yeah, Q4 finished strong. Well, dude, you just let a whole quarter slip by because of that, right? So take time, just kind of sit back and be like, yo, how did my first 6 months go? What are some things that I want to adjust? Second thing is, right, am I a speed person or am I a time person? Meaning, are you someone who likes to just get it done, work as fast as you can, quickly, period, point blank, doesn't matter anything else? Or are you someone who really likes to take your time so you can figure out, you know, the small kinks, the details, really trusting the processes. As I've said, maybe even romanticizing the process a little bit too much. The ideal situation of where you want to be is finding balance between the two. There are some things that even if you're a time person, they're just not worth your time. They don't produce the greatest ROI. You might want to start kicking those into a speed mode and just getting them done because they can be changed or they don't really hold much value in your life. And then vice versa. If you're traditionally a speed person, but you notice that you find yourself doing double the work, or maybe you're just tired, or everyone's relying on you to carry the load, but you're kind of, fed up with that, then it's probably time for you to start thinking about, all right, what are some things that I can give more time to so that I can avoid doing things 2 and 3, 4 times over, right? So that's just one of what we wanted to bring to you guys, man, on this Tuesday night. And shout out to Nikki for being such a phenomenal co-host and smiling smiling like she's excited. Yep. Amazing.
Can I propose a topic for next week?
Oh, please do. Please do.
So can we talk about narrating your own story before somebody else does for you?
Oh, yeah. We probably have a special guest for it, too. That's good.
I'm just saying. I was just wondering, because I feel like we've talked about when certain stories are out and about and the person wasn't able to go and say it first, so then they have to then announce it later or clean it up later. I feel like we can show tangible steps of how to be first and dominate the story before other people narrate the story for you.
I like that.
I'm just saying, I feel like the people need this. I feel
yeah, I like it. Hey, I'm game for it. Why not? Let's go.
Look, the Brooke said, "Oh, nice one." See, I come up with topics once in a while. You know what I mean? I come up with topics once in a while. That could have been a whole podcast, but we're gonna make it into a live. I'm just saying.
Let's go.
Anyways, appreciate everybody who was watching live, who has watched this replay, all that great stuff. Shout out to everybody. Oh wow. Go ahead, Isaiah. Go ahead.
Just, you know what I'm saying? I just be like that sometimes.
I love it. Shout out to everybody who follows us.
What if when you weren't first, it made it easier for you? Would that still count? Does that still count as a benefit, like a side benefit?
Say that one more time.
I said, what if you weren't first, but it kind of made it easier to tell the story?
Why would it make it easier?
Is that ever a side benefit?
Why would it make it easier?
We'll talk about next week. We'll talk about next week. Yeah, well, come on.
I'm like, why would it? We've preached to use your platform to
control
narrate, to control the narrative, and now we're saying, but what if the other people talk about it? But anyways, follow us on all social media platforms at Nicky and Moose on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Listen to episode 13. Okay, there was a lot of gems. And no shout out. I was going to say shout out because normally no shout out to Apple because I'm trying to create this after show and they're acting crazy with me. Okay? All my Apple podcast listeners, whether you have an iPad, an iPhone, a Mac, or whatever, we have something very, very special for y'all. But Apple doesn't want to play nice with me. So whenever they play nice with me, this is going to be a whole vibe. Wait for it. And then tomorrow, 8 p.m., set your alarms. 8 p.m., the full video for episode 13 will be on this channel. It's going to be a whole vibe. She's going crazy. Hey, she's going crazy. Shout out to everybody. Okay, shout out to what was his name? I love his name.
I know it has like someone trucking.
There we go. Blind guy, his wife, their life. When you comment on our content, I love seeing your name pop up. I don't know why, but I love when your name pops up. So shout out to you with the super chat and everybody who hit us up on the super chat and everybody who comments and keeps our